Joining me today to talk about that and a bunch of other things. State Senator Jim Dotson, Republican of Bentonville, State Representative Vivian Flowers, Democrat of Pine Bluff. Thank you both for being here. And you are the mayor-elect of Pine Bluff, too. I need to throw that in there. You looking forward?
The Democratic nominee.
Okay.
Yes.
So you still have the general to go.
But we're a Democratic city.
Okay, I thought it was done already. Who's your opponent in the hall?
I don't know. It could be an independent. It could be a libertarian who has announced. So we'll see.
All right. Well, we'll keep us posted on that.
Will do.
It could be your time in the legislature's up.
Yes.
Yes.
It is up, no matter what.
Okay. All right. Senator, I do want to let people know before we get started, too, you're the tornadoes that ripped through northwest Arkansas that did so much damage and unfortunately killed several people up there. Your house was actually hit in the storms up there, too. Is everybody okay?
So all family are safe and sound, friends, loved ones, everybody in the neighborhood and surrounding areas, we all came through it. As far as I know, no one I know personally lost life. We just lost a lot of property and trees and things like that all over the place.
Get that chainsaw going up there. Vivian, you may have to send a group of chainsaw carrying folks up there to help out.
We have them in my district. I think last year in Humphrey and then all over Jefferson County, we suffered some similar tragedies. So. I mean, it's something that we're going to have to deal with the climate issues, for sure.
I'm glad your family is safe. I'm
for
glad
sure,
everybody's safe there. All right, let's turn our attention to this potential special session. It has not been called by the governor yet, but we do know it's got to be dealt with. Game and Fish Commission appropriation is first and foremost. Do we have a solution? Can anybody speak to what that solution may be?
Well, since the Senate passed everything, I'll let the House member say whether or not.
A House member who voted to pass. This is my 10th year. I will close out with 10 years in the legislature. And before that, I worked for 5 years for the legislature through the Bureau of Legislative Research. And I have never seen, heard, or read about the budget, much less for Game and Fish in the state of Arkansas not passing, especially for over a salary issue. And as I have spoken with a gentleman who is in my district who serves on the commission, just like with other agencies and governmental bodies, we want talent. We want people who will do a good job, and sometimes that means we have to compete with other states. We have to compete within the state. And so for me, it was not the issue that it was for others. And I don't understand why we're here, but we're here.
Speaker Shepard and Senate President Bart Hester both were on a panel with me down at the Rural Economic Development Conference, and they both kind of voiced consensus that they think that the executive director salary will at least get moved up to the lowest salary for a cabinet position, and that there might be some consensus for that. Does that strike you?
Yeah, I think I too served 10 years in the House, and I haven't ever seen an appropriation not pass. However, I'm quite confident in our leadership and coming to a resolution that we will have an appropriation pass for Game and Fish. What the final number is, I don't know that's completely been agreed to yet.
It looked like the Senate was ready to do anything to get out of there.
Well, I mean, we did come
They
back.
usually are ready to get out first before all the work is done.
Well, we finished and completed all the appropriations on the Senate side. But no, I think we'll have a special session, a solution by the time we get to the special session. I've heard a lot of folks that are coming together with various ideas, but I don't know that there's a final number that's been agreed to just yet, but I'm sure it'll get there.
All right, tax cuts are the other big thing for the special session. Again, Speaker Shepard, Senate President Hester both said looking at anywhere from a 0.2 to a 0.5% cut. I've heard 0.4, which would bring our personal income tax down to about 4%, somewhere in that range. Is that doable to either one of you?
I think it's absolutely doable with the surpluses we've been running. We have not only the surplus that's projected for this fiscal year, but we also have a lot of money set aside in the bank to basically make up any shortfalls if for whatever reason we don't continue to have more revenues coming in. But we've seen over the last several years, as we continue to cut rates, we increase the amount of revenue that we have, and the surpluses keep increasing as well. So that's taxpayer money. We're of the opinion that it needs to go back to the taxpayer or stay in the pockets of the taxpayers as much as possible. So I think there's a good, strong possibility. Of course, I'm always pushing for more than anything, so I'd like to see 3.5.
He wants a 3% tax.
Yeah,
cut.
three is great as well, but
You're a yes vote.
yes.
Are you a yes vote on this tax cut?
Absolutely not. And it's not because I don't believe that, when there are surpluses that we want Arkansans to have control and dominion over the dollars that they earn. However, and this is what I have said since day one in my time in the legislature, anytime we have state needs that have gone unaddressed, I think that it is patently irresponsible to vote in a tax cut that will be difficult, if not impossible, to ever recoup in a major state emergency, in a recession, or a depression.
You don't think $2.8 billion in reserves is enough to weather a storm? I mean, I'm just asking.
Well, that's not the point.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that we are one or two disasters away from not being in that position. And of course we should have reserves, but reserves are reserves, right? And so, people forget about what it was like back in 2007, 2008, and other periods in time. And again, once you cut the taxes, it's very difficult to recoup that.
Right.
And
Or
in
to
an
raise them,
environment where we're still a very poor state, we are still a state with a lot of state needs as it relates to poverty, but also as it relates to health, as it relates to economic development. And as long as we have one state hospital to deal with mental illness, I just don't think we're in a position to say, hey, let's give the money back without addressing state needs like that.
Senator, I give you the last word on this. She's outlining that there are some priorities, that there's some needs that need to be taken care of. Should we be investing more in child care, in mental health services? And we can't do that if we're going to keep cutting taxes.
Well, we actually have continued to increase our expenditures in those areas over the course of the last 12 years I've been in the legislature. Every single year we've increased the allocations toward all the various needs that are at the state level, but there's always going to be more requests than what you have money for, so it's a matter of budgeting, trying to make sure that you allocate the resources correctly. And then obviously it's a matter of priorities. Some get more than others as far as allocating those resources, but I think we are in a place where if we're collecting way more than what we're spending, it's time to give the taxpayers some relief.
We're out of time to continue this debate, but we're going to get into fisticuffs when we get off the air right here. But I'll say this, that you guys, it's always easier to govern when there's less money than when there's too much money, because everybody always wants money when there's too much, and when there's not enough, it's real easy to tell everybody no. That's always been my experience. So surpluses make it difficult. Representative Vivian Flowers, Senator Jim Dotson, thank you both for being here. Appreciate you.